Following a controversial ending to the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway, all eyes are on NASCAR's handling of potential penalties for Austin Dillon and Joey Logano. NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt Jr. separated potential penalties into three categories: Dillon for wrecking Logano and Denny Hamlin, Dillon's spotter for audio inciting Dillon to damage other cars, and Logano for opening the throttle down pit road after the race. Earnhardt Jr., however, feels that just two of the three will face sanctions. Honestly, I don't think I would be surprised if Austin gets penalized for anything, even though you could say he right-hooked the 11. There have been other instances with right hooks, Earnhardt Jr. started off with. Austin Dillon's situation is likely the most high-profile of the three, since the win secured his playoff spot following a fairly terrible season. However, according to NASCAR regulations, that playoff spot might be revoked depending on how the organization evaluates Dillon's late-race antics. Some of the other things will almost certainly result in a punishment for Earnhardt Jr. I think Joey's going to get a big deal. Big penalty from the pit road stuff, Earnhardt Jr. said. He pissed people off. So if you watch the in-car footage of Joey coming down pit road, there's people that are crossing pit road, which there shouldn't be any people on pit road. It's a live pit road. But anyways, that's a problem in itself, but with the officials, they're jumping out of the way. Joey's coming down pit road out of control. And when Joey finally comes to a stop, you've got an official about to chew his ass. I was like, hey, I like that guy. I like the officials to be that way. That's Mike Helton-esque. That was a 2004 official right there. That guy was coming to give him a piece of his mind, and rightfully so. And Joey will get a penalty for what he did there. Then there is the spotter audio. During the last lap of the race, Austin Dillon's spotter was heard on the team's radio shouting, "Wreck him! Wreck him!" According to Earnhardt Jr., this is likely to bring down the hammer from NASCAR. That's trouble, Earnhardt Jr. said. Now I think NASCAR will react to RCR in some way, shape or form because of the spotter audio, and they should. Spotters have gotten in trouble in the past for giving directives and instructions like this. So crew chiefs, spotters, should always get in trouble when they're telling their driver to do something nefarious on the racetrack, such as wrecking another opponent. So I expect I'll be disappointed if something doesn't happen in that realm. You can't have spotters out of control, and that's out of control. That's too far. Will the pressure on NASCAR result in a more substantial penalty for Austin Dillon, or will it be limited to his crew? That appears to be the million-dollar question as we await Wednesday's judgment. I think there was a line crossed on the racetrack with the 3-car throughout all that sort of shenanigans, and certainly a line crossed in the spotter's stand, and then a line crossed on pit road, Earnhardt Jr. added. So a lot of lines got crossed. Will there be more than 2 penalties? I would expect 22 Joey Logano penalty on pit road. I would expect something around the spotter audio, and I'm not sure what NASCAR could do or would do beyond that. Thus, NASCAR has a lot to think about after a contentious finish on the track at Richmond Raceway over the weekend, and penalties for Cookout 400 winner Austin Dillon are almost surely on the way. It is unclear what those penalties will be, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not ruled out a possible racing suspension. Maybe we wouldn't be shocked if NASCAR came out and said Austin's sitting out a race, Earnhardt Jr. said. I wouldn't have a problem with it. First, he came up on Joey Logano's back bumper and shoved him, sending Logano flying into the wall. Then he course-corrected back on track and collided with Denny Hamlin's right rear quarter panel, putting him into the wall as well. The latter contact is what Earnhardt Jr. feels NASCAR will consider for a punishment. I think that it's a very important moment for NASCAR, Earnhardt Jr. said. Yes, this is very important. They cannot not deter this. That was too far. I don't want to see that again. That was like, with Denny's. I thought Denny hit way harder than he did. I was surprised to see him get out of that car as spry as he did. I thought he freaking pounded the fence. However, Earnhardt Jr. is not persuaded that Austin Dillon will be suspended. He believes the episode may be seen more favorably for Dillon as a reflex rather than an aggressive and purposeful move. Of course, the spotter's audio inciting Dillon to destroy other drivers might complicate the case. It depends on how you look at it, Earnhardt Jr. explained. We all can sit here and say he wrecked the 22, he wrecked the 11, penalized the 3. I could totally understand that argument, but I could also understand saying that the 11 and the 3 sort of met in a bad spot and that was unavoidable. What happened to the 11? Because, again, if the 3 doesn't steer left into that, he's going with him. But he is responsible. We'll have to wait a bit until we know for certain what will happen to the drivers. And according to The Athletic's Jeff Gluck, Any sanctions imposed by NASCAR against drivers Austin Dillon or Joey Logano would not be made public until Wednesday. Gluck reported Tuesday evening that NASCAR will not announce its decision on the finish at Richmond Raceway until Wednesday, allowing officials more time to review the facts of the case. That is not altogether unusual. Fines are often announced on Tuesday or Wednesday. It will be fascinating to watch how NASCAR handles the entire event, considering the unintended message it may send to other drivers if Dillon is not disciplined. On top of the crashes, Dillon's staff pushed him to damage his opponents over the team's radio, which might result in penalties or discipline. Austin Dillon does not expect to escape unharmed. "Yeah, I'm expecting something, obviously," Dillon said. "As far as my spotter, I talked to him, and I truly think for all of us, the emotions were really high in our situation for the 3-car. We've been beat up, banged up for a while now, and with 2 laps to go, we had a 3-second lead at Richmond, and a caution comes out that probably shouldn't have ever happened. But it did. And then now we're here talking about things that take away from the car that we really had and the opportunity that we took." So, as the NASCAR world waits to see what the organization will do about a contentious finish at Richmond Raceway involving Austin Dillon and Joey Logano, the rulebook is being consulted to determine what potential actions NASCAR might take. Fox Sports' Bob Pockris has been bombarded with inquiries regarding whether Dillon could preserve his win while losing the playoff place that comes with it, and he has supplied the actual NASCAR regulation. Race finishes must be unencumbered by violations of the NASCAR rules or other actions detrimental to stock car auto racing or NASCAR as determined in the sole discretion of NASCAR, according to the regulations. In other words, if Dillon's driving is considered damaging to racing or NASCAR, he might lose his playoff position. Given what happened on Sunday, that seems completely plausible. With only 2 laps to go, Austin Dillon appeared to be on his way to a relatively pain-free victory, leading the race by approximately 3 seconds. No one looked to be catching him, despite Daniel Suarez's aggressive push on the choice tires. Then, a caution was issued for a collision involving Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Ryan Preece, pushing the race into overtime. Dillon did not have the best restart in overtime, allowing Logano to pass him and grab the lead. Dillon assessed the competition and determined that a little collision was the best course of action, so he rear-ended Logano and sent him spinning. As Austin Dillon regained his composure, Denny Hamlin nearly snatched the lead from the inside. Dillon also collided with him and spun him out, putting him out in the last bend right before the finish line. Dillon would win the race. Logano was furious after the incident, increasing his throttle on pit road and then stepping out of his car and staring at Dillon. Since then, the debate in the sport has centered on whether Dillon's actions, which he admits he committed, are acceptable. As a consequence, NASCAR's final decision, which is likely on Wednesday, will be intriguing. What do you think? Will he be penalized, and how? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.